What happens when a woman stops trying to numb herself long enough to finally hear herself? Let's find out. Welcome to Sobriety Snippets for Women Over 40, where we elevate our mindset and trade hangovers for higher consciousness. I'm Becca Jacobson. Welcome to the Snippets, gals, as we round out another week here in Snippet Land. If you're new here, welcome aboard. This is where we keep the home fires burning for women over 40 who've got it all happening except the alcohol. Actually, that's not entirely true, is it? We think we've got it all happening except the alcohol. But as you're going to find out in this episode, it isn't about the alcohol. It's actually much deeper than that. I recently sat down and had a conversation with Peggy, a woman who's been in my world for quite a while, and she shares her journey and makes it very clear that it's not about the alcohol. Sometimes women arrive in my world thinking the goal is to stop drinking. In fact, most of us, right? But then something unexpected happens. They start becoming kinder to themselves, more honest with themselves, more emotionally present in their lives, and slowly, alcohol stops being the center of the story. And that's what this conversation with Peggy is all about. Let's have a listen. Peggy, thank you so much for joining me here on the Snippets. Thank you so much for your patience and
You're
generosity.
welcome. You're
Let the
welcome.
audience know where you're coming from, and then we'll get started.
Austin, Texas.
Nice. Texas is on my bucket list. I got to come down there and check it out. Peggy, you've been with me for a while, and I would love for you to
Mhm.
share your story with the gals. How did you find Snippet Land or me, or tell us your story, the beginning of your journey here?
Okay. Sometime last fall, I stumbled upon the Sobriety Snippets in podcasts. I'm not quite sure. I had done a once a week sobriety sis or something. It didn't fit well with me, but I had radar out for it. And so when I saw yours and I liked the jazz music, I thought, we're going to try this one. So that's how I got into probably November, and then did the Juicy January with Becca for the month of January, and then signed on for the Perspectives course, which I finished, 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. So that's kind of how I got here.
Right. Okay. So it came up on your radar. You like the music. I'm glad you like the music. I like it too. You know what that's called? It's called Happy Jazz. Happy Jazz.
Happy jazz, okay.
Yeah. The title of it attracted me to it. So November, you come in and you're getting the snippets, you're hearing me, and then all of a sudden I invite you to what Juicy January, which is exclusive here in Snippet Land. It's our version of Dry January because we don't do dry in Snippet Land. Tell us about your experience in Juicy January, which is a free event and it lasts a whole month, right?
Yes. We met once a week. Becca did, it was an hour long. My experience, I've never been in breakout groups and talking with people, and that I was a little just kind of reserved, but it turned out to be great. Seeing the same women week after week. We met on Saturday, I think, around 11 for an hour, along with the big group. So, yes, I see value in that now. I've always had value in small groups in person, but the computer thing, that was a new thing for me. And I really think it worked great.
Yeah. None of us here are digital natives here in Snippet Land. We got to learn this stuff, unlike our children or grandchildren. And it can be intimidating. But I know you showed up, right? Every Saturday, there you were getting to know the other women. And as you pointed out, it was the same women for a whole month. So that's a long event. Usually they're not that long. But in January, we celebrate here in Snippet Land. And so then the Juicy January ends. And then what happens?
I thought, okay, what's next? And you had put out the possibility of doing the perspectives. And I sat down and hemmed and hawed because my dad brought me up to be very frugal. And I thought, but I thought, am I not worth this? So I decided yes. And Mark was behind it. And so once it was set and scheduled, then I was fine with it. It was just making that decision. But it was well worth it, and I really benefit, and I continue to benefit from it.
Wow. Well, let's talk about the details of why and how. I mean, first of all, Peggy, I hear that a lot. I also felt that investing in ourselves is hard. We're
Mhm,
just not
mhm,
brought
mhm.
up that way. And why would you spend this on yourself? And if it's about
Yeah.
alcohol, you hear this voice saying, well, just don't drink. Well, I mean, if that worked, we wouldn't need any of this. It shows what type of person you are, who takes the
Mhm,
courage and the willingness to say, damn it, I'm worth this. And then once
mhm.
you did, yeah, I saw you really step into the space. And that was another 2 months. So that took us through February and March.
Yeah.
Peggy, what would you say shifted for you along the way, either in Juicy January or Perspectives or both? And just to be clear, Perspectives is my 8-week group coaching program, gals. And so that's 3 months. You got Juicy January, then 2 more months. What shifted for you along the way?
That, 1, I'm worth the time and effort, that I need to be kinder to myself. Then I've grown up being very hard and striving always to do the best. You never can be perfect, so there's no rest time involved, and it taught me to breathe. I mean, literally, and the breathing exercises, I was using them yesterday on the golf course because I was getting kind of riled about something. I thought, well, I bet it'd work here. And it's the ability to calm your center, your heart, refocus on what's going on and let the rest of it go, which is still a work in progress, but definitely something I had never entertained as a possibility until perspectives and I guess a little bit in Juicy January. Yeah.
Peggy, you just nailed it. This is the thing. A couple of things you said. First of all, about perfection or wanting to do things really well and showing up and recognizing, oh, this is okay, right? But the breathing, it's way more than breathing. Of course, when we're breathing, we're regulating the nervous system, but that's tied to triggers, that's tied to autopilot, it's tied to drinking, it's tied to golfing, right? And it is something we use everywhere. For me, it's been driving. I gotta breathe when I drive because I'm a
Mhm.
notorious impatient driver. But around the alcohol, I mean, that's what it's for. That's why we learn it in the
Yes.
first place.
Mhm, mhm.
And how was it for you actually giving up alcohol? When did that happen for you? Was it at the beginning of January or?
It was during Juicy January. I drank mostly for frustration, for boredom, for I'm ticked about something, not for good reasons. I mean, there were the celebratory times, but mostly the vast majority was enforcing or tamping down things I didn't want to feel and deal with.
Yeah. Tamping down. I love that. Yesterday, I spoke to one of the gals in Perspectives, and she used the analogy of she visualizes a deep well, a black, deep well where she's got all her negative emotions. And if they try to pop up, she's push them back. Get back in the well. Get down there. Don't you dare show your little head above the light of day, kind of tamping down. That's beautiful. And
Yeah,
that is
or
what keeps us
whack-a-mole.
stuck, right?
Yeah.
That's what keeps us stuck. And so how did it feel to stop tamping down emotions and with alcohol?
Yeah, then I had to start doing the asking myself, so why is it that I want to drink now? So before I used to just pour it, sit down, calm down, and then carry on with life. And I'm thinking I had to look more and analyze my self-talk and realize and admit to myself that the alcohol really doesn't take care of the frustration. It just makes me unaware of it.
Yeah.
And then it's, well, do I wanna get in touch with what I'm frustrated with and let it go? Or do I just wanna tamp it down and kinda play like it's not there? And to be if we're gonna be honest with ourselves, yeah, I'd love to get rid of all of it. It's being more honest with myself in my self-talk in my head.
Wow, that's so beautiful. You've mentioned self-compassion, self-talk, and honesty, self-honesty. And
Mhm,
that
mhm,
takes a lot of courage, but that is what changes everything for
mhm,
us. When we
mhm,
finally realize the things you've just said, that I need to be more compassionate towards myself. I need to watch what I'm saying to myself. I need to be
mhm, mhm.
honest with myself.
Yes.
It sounds so courageous to me, and I know that it is, but honestly, once you do it, is it like, "Wow, that was really scary?" How was it? Women are
Um,
kind of afraid. I was.
yeah, it was kind of a relief. Okay. Yeah, I think of myself as an honest person. I'm honest with everybody else. I thought, hey, this being honest with myself is not a bad gig. And I want more of that. I have a confession. Not that I have to convince, but I had seen a little bit of your releasing meditation. I think I just done one of the little lessons. Well, I was going through it just recently and realizing I had two things that I worked through in that meditation, and it was emotional. It was, and then I think I did the next one. It said, well, it says, wait a week. You don't want to overload yourself. But then it says, keep bringing up those same ones until you don't have that inner angst or tears or frustration or anger. And I thought, oh, I missed that part. That makes sense, though. I decided today also to write a June 1st letter to myself, in which my goals really for June are to work through those 2 and see if I can't by the end of June or by the beginning of June to have let go of these, and it's deep-seated family stuff. And there alcohol's intertwined in it, but more than that is just my attitudes and not letting go, and it's that deep black well. All the stuff has been packed in there for many years, and it's emotional, but it feels good to be addressing it and not just trying to make it disappear.
Yeah. Wow,
And that's
Peggy.
what the alcohol, I used that to make it disappear, and it didn't.
Yeah, that's what we do. I mean, it's not, it's just, look, that's too much right now. I need to relax. It's been a hard day. And we decompress with alcohol. You just said a lot.
Mhm.
And I realized you've been doing your homework, haven't you?
Well,
Good for you.
yes, yes, I think I meant week 4, but I'm enjoying going slowly and purposefully, not that I wouldn't have been before, but I don't have a teacher waiting for me to turn it in. I'm holding myself
Yeah.
accountable because this is what I wanna do. And I'm
Yeah.
really enjoying it. I am benefiting greatly. And the sense of relief and the emotions that are starting to kind of eke out of that bad part into being able to use them for positive, enjoyable things.
Yes.
And all the energy I can find, I'll take.
Yeah. Yeah. When we let go of negative emotions, we release fresh energy that we can use for love, creativity, for living, for
Mhm,
building the
mhm.
best chapter of our lives, right?
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
gals, what Peggy's talking about here, I just want to clarify for the gals out there in Snippet Land, is part of the course. So, my perspectives, it's 8 weeks group coaching. There's a course included that you have lifetime access to. That's why you're still looking at it months later. It part of that, and a big part of it, is healing our past. And
Mhm,
that requires us to have the willingness to sit with emotions that might be a little bit uncomfortable. But of course, I teach you how. And as you just said, we go very
mhm,
slowly and eventually,
mhm,
but I mean, the goal is what you said. Do I want to let go of all of that? And can I? And the
mhm,
answer is
mhm,
yes.
mhm,
Yes.
mhm,
And I personally found that so exciting to be able to release emotions and negativity that I've been carrying all my life.
mhm. Yeah.
And you mentioned the past and family stuff. I mean, think about what we're talking about here. We're talking about transforming the way we move through the world, the way we feel about ourselves, our past, our
Mhm,
future. Oh, you're
mhm,
also doing future self work. I hear you've written a June
mhm,
time capsule.
mhm,
I mean, that's amazing. And this is the
mhm.
type of stuff that changes us and makes alcohol redundant. So tell me
Yeah.
where alcohol lives in your life right now today, Peggy.
On the shelf in the pantry. Um, it really maybe once every 2 weeks, I'll have a glass of wine with my husband.
Okay.
I've relegated it only with him, and he's not a drinker much of a drinker at all. I mean, so and relegated to when he brings it up, and he doesn't usually. So I we can go a whole month. And it's not that I'm beholden to him for that, but it makes it where I don't have to decide. So if he decides not to bring it up for a month, I'm good with that. I trust him. So it's nice to have people that know what you're doing and applaud it and are encouragement. I mean, the other day he walked by, we were working on that first snippet, and maybe it was one of the perspectives. I don't know. He almost said, I was going to walk by and say hi, Becca. Then I thought maybe I shouldn't interrupt.
Oh, I'd love to meet him. He's been there in the background for a long time, and yeah, send him my
Yeah.
love. Well, that's amazing to hear, Peggy, that you don't have to worry about it. You're not like, "Oh, could we have a drink?" That kind of thing. So that's
Mhm,
great.
mhm, mhm.
What would you want to say to another woman who's just trying to figure out how to get started?
Just do it. Just do it. I watched snippets for about a month, and I
Mhm.
did some on my walks, and I to the point where I thought, "I like what this lady's saying. It rings true," and then you presented a free January, Juicy January, which free is the best, in my world of bringing depression era parents, and
Mhm.
so I thought, "Well, I can try this for free." And it
Mhm.
had the accountability of having to show up, but yeah, that's how I got into it deeper.
I agree. I hear that from a lot of women. A good place to start is just get your snippets for a while, keep getting them because you eventually get the idea of what we're doing here in Snippet Land. And there is a
Mhm,
very
mhm,
consistent themes that run
mhm,
throughout,
mhm,
and you'll hear me starting to repeat. And it's not a bunch of random stuff. It starts to become, oh, I see how she's doing this. And then
mhm,
if you want to take that deeper, every so often, every, I don't know, four,
mhm,
6,
mhm,
8 weeks, it depends. I'll
mhm,
do a free event. And January is the
mhm,
only one that's a month. Usually they're about 5 days.
yeah,
But yeah, and so you
yeah,
can come in and meet me, meet some other women, and then from there, you'll be invited into perspectives. I mean, that's one pathway. You can also just join us anytime you want to. But that is
right,
a
right.
good way because you get to sort of ease in, right?
Yeah, 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 and yours very approachable. It rings true, and you're not pushy, and all of those are important to me.
Yeah.
So, those were all ticked off.
If there's one thing I learned with my own alcohol struggle, you can't push people into giving up alcohol because people tried to push me. And the more they pushed, I'm like, yeah, up yours, baby. I'm going to go get a bottle. I'll show you. Like it was just not the opposite. Never tell me I
Yeah.
can't drink, right?
I mean, we have to make decisions for ourselves.
Yeah.
And this is a decision that I avoided for a long time. And I'm glad I've made it and we're on this path.
That's
And
amazing.
the other thing that it goes till I die. I mean, there's always things to work on beyond the alcohol that are, but all related. And so it's not like we'll finish this, wrap up the present, put it on the shelf, and then learn how to embroider or something, It's integrated. It's an integration into life and life decisions and life events that enriches.
Wow, what a
And
beautiful way of
yeah,
putting it.
yeah,
I'm so
yeah.
glad that that's happened for you because that's my evil plan, right? I I just not interested in teaching women how to not drink. I really wanna help women how
Mhm,
to learn
mhm,
how to
mhm,
live, but most importantly, how to
mhm,
make this the best chapter of our lives, especially
mhm.
emotionally. And that
Yeah.
includes the way we feel about ourselves. Alcohol does
Mhm,
massive
mhm,
damage to
mhm,
ourself, the way
mhm,
we feel about ourselves. So we
mhm.
must
Yeah,
heal that. And it is a journey. It's a journey, emotional journey, and so
yeah,
worth it.
yeah.
And you're right. We're going to be doing this right till we hop on into the old grave because there's always something new to learn. That's what I'm doing. I'm learning something
Mhm,
new every day, right? Growing a little more, finding out things about myself. And the more you release and allow, the more you see and the cleaner, and it's a very beautiful process. And I'm so glad
mhm.
that you're doing it because it requires that
Me
willingness.
too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Good for you. Good for you. If you could say one thing that feels different for you now, that like the biggest shift in one thing or two, maybe.
My self-talk
Okay.
and my putting myself down and getting frustrated with myself, that I'm slowly letting go of almost all of it, and it feels so much better. I mean, I catch myself. I catch that, "Oh, that was a dumb thing to do," and I go, "No, a better way to put that, a more truthful way to put that." And it's all in my head, but it does, I think, impact. There's less of the negative talk, or I catch it really fast, and
Yeah.
because that negative talk just gets you frustrated and angry and muttering under your breath. I don't wanna be that person.
Peggy, the thing is, and I didn't know this 8 years ago, our self-talk creates our lives, because whatever we're
Yeah.
saying inside ends up, and he's like, what? I don't understand. Listen, if you're beating yourself up and no one else can hear it, you are creating a life that's very difficult. And
Mhm,
as
mhm,
we say here in Snippet Land, there is just no room for beating ourselves up. So what I
mhm,
love that you said though is that you catch it because there's no perfection for any of us, right? So it's the idea of being able to being aware enough to go, "Oh,
mhm,
look. Oh, caught that. I can try doing that a little bit different with patience
mhm,
and compassion."
mhm, mhm,
Because
mhm,
we have to be patient with ourselves because our minds will go back to revert back to autopilot,
Mhm.
right? I mean, you can't expect to change
Yeah.
decades of thinking overnight. So I hear you being really patient and compassionate with yourself, and that is so beautiful. Yeah. And that
Yeah.
will change your life. Has changed your life.
Yeah.
Good for you.
It's hardest with the people closest to you,
Okay.
but when they're on board and understand what you're doing, it helps, but it's still they're old triggers from, you married 47 years. There's things that you've been just shoving away for 47 years and they're coming up. So there are rough spots, but I've learned enough through the program that you're breathing and letting it go. There will be rough spots, but then address them first in my inner talk, my self talk. How could I have said that better? How could I have said that kinder? How could I have responded in a better way and not flip back to the sarcastic I just that I'm very practiced at. So
Yeah.
I'm working at getting that out. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm real, the more angry I am, the snarkier I can be.
Yeah.
And it's ugly and it's mean. And I don't want to be an ugly, mean person. So
Right. Wow. You're right. It is hardest with those closest to us. It's amazing. I've got 32 years with my husband, and he's the one who gets it, right? And I had a woman last year who I asked the group, what's the biggest change, the one biggest change that you notice? And that she said, I'm nicer to my husband.
yeah,
And that
yeah.
just was so, I thought, that's enough right there. I'm happy. So, yeah, learning to be
Mhm,
kind not only to ourselves, but to those closest to us. Because when we're
mhm,
in long
mhm,
term
mhm,
relationships, it can be real tricky. Another woman said, if he would
mhm.
just walk different. Another one said, I don't like how he chews. We start getting these little annoyances, right? The everyday annoyances. It's so
Yes, yes, yes. I know. But he trusts you, Becca, implicitly.
okay.
And so he's glad when I'm working on it or like these meetings, oh, wherever you want to sit. And I like that because that removes one hurdle that I know some people have to deal with, that family is not supportive or that, oh yeah, here we go again. So I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, that is a big blessing. And
Mhm.
what's your husband's name?
Mark.
Mark. Well, tell Mark that I'm honored and that he trusts me
Mhm.
and send him my love. Hi, Mark. Sending love.
Okay.
I'm sure he'll hear this. So there it is. Big shout out to Mark. But you're right. Not all women have that kind of support where I hear
Mhm.
Mark saying, hey, have the whole room to yourself for your perspectives and go, Peggy, go, because this is making me
Yeah, yeah,
happier. But not all of us
yeah.
have that. And that can be difficult too, which is another value of the group being supported if there's a difficult
Absolutely.
relationship.
Yeah.
Wow, good for Mark. That's awesome. Is he practicing any of this?
I tried not to be too analytic on his end of the conversation and just because I'm busy enough monitoring my responses and my being appropriate. And it really, he's benefited for sure as I don't do my normal escalation and
Right.
ridiculousness. It's like if you don't have someone to fight with or someone to argue with, it's hard to argue, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so anyway, yeah,
Beautiful.
I hope so. I hope some of this starts rubbing off.
Yeah. Well, I got an email from a couple who've been married, I think almost 50 years. I think she said 50 years, and they're both snippets. She just said we both sit and we listen to the snippets together. And I
Oh,
thought,
sweet.
yeah, I know, right? It's so beautiful. I'm so heartwarming. Well, Peggy, is there anything else you'd like to share before we wrap this up today?
I don't think so. I think we pretty much hit what I kind of thought through.
Okay, well, just when I asked you what would you say to anyone who's thinking about it, and you said just do it. I think that's a valid, we have to just take a leap of faith because it can be
Mhm,
very hard to reach out to decide to not just listen, but actually move forward, tap a
mhm,
button
mhm,
or whatever is necessary to come a little closer and start, but it is worth it. And that's a huge
mhm.
message. So thank you for sharing that message today with,
Oh,
you
you're
know,
so welcome. You're so
and
welcome.
it's been a joy having you in my world and still having you in my world, Peggy.
Yep. Talk to you later.
Yeah. Ah, that was so much fun. Thanks again, Peggy. What I love about Peggy's story is that she didn't arrive here in my world because she was weak. She arrived here because she was exhausted from trying to manage everything alone. And somewhere along the way, she realized what so many of us eventually realize. It's not about the alcohol. It's about emotional freedom, self-compassion, learning how to stop abandoning yourself. I had to learn all that the hard way. If you're listening to this conversation and recognizing yourself in it, then join me on Wednesday. Yeah, that's the day after tomorrow. I'm teaching a live class called How to Quit Drinking for the Last Time. Not through shame, not through white knuckling, not through becoming a different person, but by finally understanding what's actually keeping you stuck beneath the drinking. This is not a big, long journey. It's a 1-hour masterclass on Zoom with me this Wednesday. That's right, day after tomorrow, the 3rd of June. Attendance is easy. Tap the link and join me at 7 p.m. Eastern on the 3rd of June. You'll find that link in the show notes. And if you're one of my gals who has a hard time with show notes, no judgment here, gals. As I say, we're not exactly digital natives, are we? Just shoot me an email at beccajacobson.com and ask for registration to the Zoom class on Wednesday. How to Quit Drinking for the Last Time. And by the way, my dear, that doesn't mean you're going to quit drinking on Wednesday. Heaven forbid we rush things. It simply means you're going to come and find out how to quit drinking for the last time. Of course, what you do after that is up to you. See you on Wednesday. Thanks for popping in. Be sure to come back next time so I can keep your head on straight. Sending you buckets of love.